Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2023 BMW M550i xDrive. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. So the M550 that you see behind me is finished off in Tanzanite Blue Metallic, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features and get this performance-oriented sedan out on the road. So let's start off with what powers this 550i. Underneath the hood, this gets the 4.4-liter twin-power turbo V8 that's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. It's sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 3,400 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds with a top speed of 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 18 gallons. You'll expect to see around 17 miles per gallon in the city, 25 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 117.1 inches. Its overall length is 195.8. It has a width of 73.5 and a height of 58.4 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this M550i, let's start off with the BMW logo because this model also has the BMW 50 years badge, which is very subtle and a nice touch to see. Still retains the kidney style for the grille, finished off in gloss black. There's a forward-facing camera, and then this even has active grille shutters, so the back ends there will open up to provide a lot more cooling to that engine. Now this also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with a very nice sleek housing. It matches the grille very nicely, so it flows throughout that front end. And then in the lower section, there are a lot more cutouts along with the parking sensors. And you can see in the corners, those cutouts are actually functional too. So that will direct airflow through them around the front tires and then exit the side trim piece, which I'll show here in just a second. And then there's a lot of contoured lines in the lower section here just to give it more of an aggressive look, with the subtle lines coming down the hood as well. So I think it has a great design to it. And then for this M550i, this has the 20-inch wheels, which are the upgraded wheels with the two-tone design multi-spoke pattern. This even gets the M brake calipers finished off in red. The trim piece just behind that tire is what I was talking about earlier, so the airflow can exit that trim piece and go down the side of the vehicle, where there's some very subtle lines extending all the way to the rear tire, especially in the lower side skirt, and then there's one just at the height of the door handles there. This also has body colored side mirrors with a camera and the integrated turn signal. It has a sunroof too. All of the window trim is blacked out, so it gives it a nice subtle look. And then as we work our way to the rear, this has a trunk mounted spoiler, very small, so again, very subtle, giving this overall a clean design to it with some aggressive lines here and there. You can see that BMW badge along with the backup camera. M550i is also finished off in a dark brush trim, so that matches very nicely. This has a set of LED taillights. The housings are pretty dark, so it's nice to see that. All of the backup sensors are in the middle. There's even a gray trim piece in the lower diffuser with the dual exhaust on both sides. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that. So this does have remote start. All I need to do is triple tap on the lock button and this will automatically start up. And then you can also triple tap that button if you'd like to shut it off for whatever reason. And we'll get some exhaust revs in here in just a second. So let's move on to the cargo space. I can use the button on the key fob or the one to the left of that backup camera. And you'll see that this is a very, very functional sedan. You could absolutely daily drive this. There is a ton of space with those back seats up. On this left side, there's a cargo net. There's also some access to some battery components. There's a storage bin on the passenger side. And then with the back seats folded down, all you need to do is pull on these tabs on each side. And you can see there's a lot more interior storage, making this that much more practical to drive every day. And then with the power trunk, you can lock the vehicle. The one on the left side will just close it. And as we move on to the back seats, you can lock and unlock this with the back door handle. So that makes it even more convenient. And we have the cognac leather paired with this Tanzanite blue. It is a great combo to see. As you can tell, the sunshades are currently up on this driver's side. They are manual adjusting. There's some wood trim along with the brushed aluminum just underneath that. This even has the 16-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, a little bit of storage in the lower section, and then all the leather on the armrest and the grab handle there looks very clean. And the interior has the same design with the leather and the stitching, and then M is also down on the door sill. Now at 5'10", I'll work my way into the back where I do have the front seat set at my height. I have plenty of room. There's also some storage pockets behind both front seats. 2 air vents are in the middle. These are even heated seats too, so you have those adjustments. A little bit of storage for this split shelf design, and then some auxiliaries in the lower section, so that way you can charge electronics. Now, as far as headroom goes, I have around 2 or 3 inches above my head in between the full Alcantara headliner, which is a great touch. So I could be very comfortable. This isn't the smallest sedan from BMW, so you definitely have plenty of room for your backseat passengers. And then for this middle area here, you can pull down the armrest where you do have 2 cup holders on the front section. There is no storage in the back section there. And then you can also fold the entire middle seat down, giving you a easy access to the back there. So if you have any larger items and you need to just have that seat down, you can do that. And then we can get a look at visibility out of the back. It's very open feeling, so you definitely have a lot of room for your passengers. And as we move on to the front door panel now, you'll notice it's just the same as the rear. However, there's all the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments too, which are power folding. This even has the memory seating adjustments and the massaging function, so you can quickly turn that on and off. There's the trunk release, a lot more storage in the lower section, even some leather and stitching in the upper section there. And then for these front seats, they have a similar design to the rear. They are automatic, so all of those adjustments are down on the side there. And the front section is also automatic, so you can use this control here to push that out or to pull it back in, just depending on the comfort that you need for the day. And you'll notice the M550i badge is also an illuminating badge, so that is a great touch. And then this is a low car, so it is easy to get in. You don't have to reach too far to get that door, which is nice to see. And then for the M Sport steering wheel, it's completely covered in solid black leather. It is a heated steering wheel, so you'll see that control along with the M badge. All of the cruise control settings are on that left side. On the right side, there is volume and tuning along with the Bluetooth commands, and then some brushed aluminum accents. It's even on the paddle shifters too. But let's bring this M550i back to life. With my foot on the brake, that button is on the right side. We can fire this up. And looking at the digital gauge cluster, on the left side is the miles per hour and the fuel level. Right side is the engine temperature and the tach. You'll notice that the map for the navigation is front and center, which it always stays there, which I think is great to see. And then within that tach on the right side, you can go through all of that info using the button on the top of that turn signal stock. So currently it's showing the odometer along with some data information. You can also pull up live readouts for horsepower and torque. So if I give the vehicle some gas, you will see those adjust as needed, which is pretty cool to see. There's also a G-force meter. You can pull up the audio, even look at what gear the vehicle is in along with the driving mode. So currently it is in comfort. There's a live readout for MPG. So it's nice to have all of that front and center. And then over on this left side, there's all the headlight adjustments, parking light adjustments, even a dimmer switch for the gauges. There's 1 air vent. There's even a little bit of storage just underneath that. So if you need to place some items down there, you can. You'll see more of that wood trim. There's even the interior ambient lighting strip. So that's just above all of the wood trim, which is nice. This does have the head-up display. So currently it's showing miles per hour and the speed limit sign. And then right in the middle, we have this massive touchscreen system where currently you can see the backup camera, and then we have a top-down view on that right side. So let's go through the backup camera right now. If we go into the 3D view, you can even see exactly where you'd like to around this entire vehicle. So I love the graphics for this, so that way you can easily pinpoint what is around you. And then over on the right side, you'll notice this has the automatic parking along with the backup assistance. So that is very nice to have. It will actually steer for you in backing up. So if you're going down a curvy road, it will actually help you in backing back up if that's the only way that you need to do that. So that's great to have. And then the top-down view for the car wash is a great setting as well. Now on this left side, if I push on home, we can go back to here where you'll notice the navigation. There's also music and phone. I can swipe over to some more data information. There's even the compass too. And then you have some blank areas there where you can add additional widgets just depending on what you use. Now on this left side, there are also shortcuts to the media, so you can quickly get into that along with your phone. You can pull up the navigation in full screen, and then under car, you have a lot more settings to go through, where I'm going to be using this rotary dial now to go through all of that. And then as you can tell, there's all of these shortcuts above that. so you can quickly get to all this information. So under the driving information, if I go into the sport displays, you can look at all this performance information. So if you're doing some spirited driving, you can monitor all of that. You can even look at the energy flow. When you have the vehicle on, you can just see where everything is being sent, all of the power and all of that information. There's some vehicle status, so you can monitor all of that info. And then under settings, you have a lot more to go through. From your general settings, you have the different driving modes, so you can configure all of this information just depending on how you want to drive your car for the day. You have your driver assistance, even your displays, your heating for the seats, the climate controls. All of this information is very easy to go through. There's different driver profiles too. You can even get to the owner's manual. And then under the apps, this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then some other apps just depending on what you need to use. So it's a very easy system to go through, has a lot to offer. You'll notice more of that interior lighting is just underneath that, above the wood trim and the brushed aluminum. There are 2 air vents right in the middle, even a shortcut to the intelligent safety. So if I go into individual, this is where you can configure a lot of the standard safety features, just depending on how you'd like those to react. Underneath the engine start stop button, this even has the engine start stop feature, so you can quickly turn that on and off. You'll notice too there's a physical button for power and volume for the radio, along with all the presets and tuning. And underneath that, this gets another LCD screen for all the climates. So this has dual zone for the front seat passengers. So we have the temperature dials, even the heated seat controls. There's menu, which will pop up in the upper section here, where you can further go through some of those temperature adjustments. And then there's sync and where you'd like the air to go for driver and passenger. So it's laid out very nicely. Underneath that, you will see more wood trim. If I open up this cover, this has a wireless charging pad, even the BMW access card, so you can use that in place of the key fob. There's a USB, even a 12 volt and 2 cup holders, and then you can easily hide all of that away. To the left of all those controls, we have the shifter. So with my foot on the brake, the release is on this left side. If I put it into reverse, you will see that backup camera up here, as I already went through it. If I put it into drive and then pop it over into the manual setting, that allows you to use the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, or you can use the shifter itself, and then park is located on the top there. Now on the left of that, there's traction control along with the different driving modes. So if I go to sport right now, you will see that change. The exhaust note will also get louder. There's a few different settings that you can configure. There's also comfort, and then Eco Pro also has a few different settings. So again, just depending on how you want to drive this. Behind that, you have the parking sensors, which you can turn on and off. There's even a button for the camera system that will actually pull up the forward-facing camera, and you can see the graphics for that. This has the electronic parking brake along with the auto hold assist. And then for the center armrest, it has the split design to it. So if I just push on that button, both sides will open up, and you can see the auxiliary there, along with a good bit of storage where you can place all of those items. And then the glove box has just as much room, so you can put all of your items there. And then like I mentioned earlier, we have the sunroof. So that sunshade adjustment is automatic. So we have that adjustment. We can easily open that up, finished off in Alcantara as well. The sunroof adjustments are also up in the middle, and then on each side are the dome lights, and then there's a call button on the back. As we set off now behind the wheel for this M550i, let's talk about the cost for this BMW sedan. So this has a starting MSRP just over $81,000. The model that we're in today is just over $90,000. And I also want to compare this real quick to the BMW M5, because this is essentially very similar to that car, minus some of the performance aspects. This does have the adaptive suspension, however, but this is not that much slower than the M5, which starts right around $107,000. So essentially, you are getting an M5 just in a little bit detuned of an engine, still some of the same aspects to it, but with the M5 you can also get the competition, so you can get the red buttons that give you a lot more performance. But if you're not looking to spend that, 90 grand is still a lot of money, but it's $10,000-$20,000 cheaper than the M5, just depending on the options that you go with. This is still a really good option. We have the same engine with less horsepower. With the M5 comp, you can get up to around 617. So we have about 523 here. So like I said, you can definitely get a lot more performance in the M5, but just in changing this into sport mode, you still have a pretty good sedan. And it sounds good too. Not the loudest exhaust, but even coming around this turn with this suspension, this is a good handling car. So I think this is a really good option if you're not looking to spend that extra money. And just in general, for about $80,000, $90,000 for this BMW sedan, when you compare this to other vehicles on the market, I think this is a really good option. Some others that we have, the Cadillac CT4V, CT5V, are going to be in that similar price range. And I think this is a good option. I've driven a lot of BMWs, and not to say I'm biased towards them, but the more that I drive them, the more that I truly love driving these cars, because BMW incorporates a lot of their performance aspects into models that aren't even performance oriented. But with this M550i, you're getting the M package, so you're getting some of those goodies like I mentioned, and they drive very nice too. We'll give it another acceleration though. Very mild. I love how quick these shifts are too. The paddles are super responsive, even on the downshifts. And then if we just put it back into comfort, you can definitely feel a difference with that adaptive suspension. The exhaust note gets quieter as well. So if you're just driving this from point A to point B, you want a little bit more of a relaxing drive, you can put it into the comfort setting there. You can feel the steering also get a little bit looser in comfort. That's pretty cool to see. So you have a lot of settings, which is nice, and you have a good size for a family sedan. So if you need a little bit bigger of a sedan, this is a good size, kind of in the middle, a little bit larger than the 3 Series, of course, and then smaller than the 7 Series. So it's a good platform. And with it still in sport mode, not even quarter throttle there, and we're up to the speed limit. This is a quick car. And for, again, $90,000, I think you're getting a really nice luxury-focused vehicle that also is sporty, being the M550 version. So having some of the M Sport package features, including that exhaust, which hopefully you can hear slightly. It's not too loud, but it does get much quieter in comfort and eco versus the sport setting. And if you're not looking to spend 6 figures for the M5, this is a good down step, I would say. Same engine, detuned a little bit. So I think with some easy modifications, if you're interested in getting some of that power back, you could spend less on this car, tune it, and get almost the same, if not more power than in the M5. So if you're not looking to get that next step up, this is definitely a perfect option to go with. And you have a lot of different options that you can spec this the way that you'd like to. So for, again, let's say $80,000 to maybe $95,000, I don't think the M550 breaks 100, because you would go to the M5 at that level. So for 80 to 95 grand, you're getting a heck of a car. It is so smooth to drive. It's very easy to drive too. And maneuverability with this 3-point turn is pretty tight. Steering is pretty tight, as you would expect to be able to take it on some back roads. Let's go ahead and quickly pull up the sport displays, so that way you can see that. You get your horsepower, your torque, along with PSI for the turbos and the G-force meter as well. Pretty much all you need when you want to go have some fun driving this car. And I like the size of it too. This is a perfect vehicle. If this is your only vehicle, you need a family style sedan, but you want some of the performance aspects. You're not looking to track this or do a lot of spirited driving, but you might take it to the mountains and you just want a good handling vehicle. This is a cool option, and it's so much fun to drive. But I think that is going to wrap it up for the 2023 BMW M550i xDrive. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.